Hello math fans, let's factor some harder trinomials. I'm Mr. Chu, this is Bare Algebra. We're going to factor trinomials in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c using what I call the MN method. And then we're going to end up having, there'll be a number in front of this x or both of them. And then there'll be an m and an n here. So, that's the standard form. That's what we're looking at. We're going to multiply a times c first, and then we're going to find the b. Then the ac is going to be an mn whenever we put it in a chart, and then the b is going to be an m plus n, and then we factor by grouping. All right, so first thing I want to do is, before we start factoring, just talk about FOIL. Remember, FOIL is first, outer, inner, last. So, in this case, the first will be 2x times 4x. The outer, and I'm drawing a face, will be 2x times 1. The inner will be 3 times 4x. And then the L is last. It'll be 3 times 1. So this becomes 8x squared plus 2x plus 12x plus 3. And this is what I'm trying to get us to break it down, because we're going to be given this. And they're saying, how do you get from here up to here? And it's not really easy. So it starts out just by knowing the standard form, finding AC and B, knowing that AC is going to be MN in your little T table you make, and B is going to be M plus N. So let's look at example 1. Example 1 is 7y squared plus 11y plus 4. We're looking at this form, so I'm going to take a times c. A is a number in front of the square term, 4 times, or 7 times 4. So I know that AC equals 7 times 4, so that's 28, and I know that that has to be MN whenever I put it in my table. And I have to identify my B. My B is in between to the first power, so 11. Now once I have these things done, I say, okay, here's my table. I know that AC is equal to 28, and I know that has to be my MN. So I'm going to write an M here times an N, and then it has to equal 28. That's what I'm doing. And then over here, I know my B is 11, and I know that M plus N has to equal 11. Okay? Now I'm just going to take a factor tree and factor these out. I don't need any of this FOIL stuff anymore. So I can just get rid of it. So I'll have more room to write on. So I take a factor tree of 28. Now I'm going to write all the factors of 28. Some people can just write them down. Some people need to see that 1 times 28 is 28. So I can come over here and I can say my m's 1 and my n is 28, and that equals 28. And 1 plus 28 is 29. Well, is that 11? No. So I just put a line through it. I can't use that one. It's no good. Now this 28, I can divide it by 2. 2 times 14. Well, that's still 28, so that worked. 2 plus 14 is 16. Is that 11? Nope. So I know it doesn't work. Now this 14 is 2 times 7. Now here's where some students will struggle. Well, what do I multiply by 7? Well, 2 times 2 times 1. which is 4. And 4 times 7 is 28. And 4 plus 7 is 11. So I know that my M equals 4 and my N equals 7. So I know that my M equals 4 and my N equals 7. All right, now what am I going to do? I'm going to break down this B into an M plus N to the power of X. So I'm going to rewrite this. And instead of 11y, I'm going to put 4y plus 7y. So let's rewrite it. Remember, it's plus 4 here. So these two added together will give me my 11y. Now, why did I do that? Because now I want to break it down by factor by grouping. Here's where you couldn't use any shortcut you might have used when we were doing just the x squared plus bx plus c's. What do they both have in common? A GCF, and I do have videos that once you subscribe to my YouTube channel, if you haven't subscribed yet, stop right now and hit that subscribe button. It helps me out. Well, they both have a y in common. That's called the GCF. What do you multiply by y to get 7y squared? 7y. That's reversing the distributive property. Plus, because it's plus here, what do you multiply by y to get 4y? 4. Do they have a GCF? Only one. And you need to write that down. This is just giving you a little hint of something you have to do. Now, I've told people who've been watching my videos that when I was teaching in brick and mortar, and I was teaching this to my algebra students, I told them, you've got to get the same thing here or you can't factor it. And if they're close, you might have to do something. That's when they get a little bit harder. We haven't done any of those yet. So I would tell them, I live in Indiana. Indiana's a big basketball state, one of the biggest basketball states in the country. And we have the Indiana Pacers here. That's our professional team, and they went to the semifinals in the 2024 NBA tournament and then lost to the Celtics. And there was a great Pacer who is he's one of the commentators for ESPN now. His name's Reggie Miller. He shot a lot of three-pointers, and he hit them. And when he would hit them, the referees, because I used to be a referee, would put their arms up for 3 points. And a lot of players will do this now. They'll do 3 to show they hit a three-pointer. But when he would shoot that, the crowd would scream, "Boom, baby." So I would tell my students, I'm looking for the same thing. And then I would say this and say it so loud and make them jump out of their chair. Boom, baby. And you write that down. 7y plus 4 times, if I take this out and factor that out, and it's gone, what's left? A y plus 1. And when you FOIL this, you're going to get our original one. And that is the answer. So hopefully seeing these examples and working through them is helping you. All right, now we will do example 2. And these problems do take some time, especially when I'm taking the time to explain every little piece of it. And the reason I'm doing that is because some students don't understand some of the basic things. Maybe you didn't have the best algebra teacher in the world. Maybe you didn't pay attention. Maybe you missed a lot of school. I don't care. Mr. Chu just wants to help you learn how to do it right. So, example 2 now. We did example 1 there. Here's 2. 5y squared plus 13y plus 6. And I need to say that equals 2 parentheses, but I don't know what goes in the first one. When we were doing easier ones in videos that I did earlier and posted just more recently up onto my YouTube channel, you knew what went there. I know that this is either a 5y and this is a y, or this is a y and a 5y, but I don't know what goes here. And pretty much the only thing you can do is find your AC. And remember, that's a number in front of the square term times the constant. So that's 5 times 6. So I know that AC is 5 times 6. So AC is 30. And now I know that that is MN in my table when I do my table. And I know that M plus N has to equal B. So I know that M plus N in my table has to equal what's in front of the term to the first power, which is 13. So I know 13 equals B. All right, so I'm going to erase some of this because I'm going to need the space now. Hopefully this is making sense. You know, I have an email address. You can email me with questions. AskMrChew@gmail.com, and I will answer, make a video if you need, whatever. All right. So I know that my table is going to have my AC, which equals 30, which is going to be my MN. So my M times my N will be 30. I'm going to put a number here, a number here. And I know that M plus N is going to have to equal 13. Why? Because my B is 13. All right? So after I do each one, I'll write them down here and then verify them here. And if they're not both the same, I put a line through them. They're no good. Okay, so we have to use what? A factor tree of 30. So 30 is 1 times 30. So I can do 1 times 30, which equals 30. And 1 plus 30 is 31. Is 31 and 13 equal? No, they're flipped. So I just put a line through it. It means I can't use that one. So after 1, I try 2. Yep. 2 times 15. 2 times 15 is 30. 2 plus 15 is 17. Is 17 and 13 the same? Nope. Put a line through it. All right. I can do 3 times 5. So the number's going to be 5. And then it's going to be 3 times 2 times 1, which is 6. 6 times 5 is 30. What's 6 plus 5? Well, what do you know? 11. Nope, it's not 11. Are there any other factors here? Because see how these are primes? Yes, there are. What about taking this number times this number, 10 times 3? Well, 3 times 10 will give me 30. What about 3 plus 10? It is 13. Now, you had to look a little harder for that, but you should have known that 30 was divisible by 3 when we got to here, because 30 is divided by 3, 3 times 10. So since that's it, what do I do now? I'm going to take the 3 and the 10 and make them 3y plus 10y. So in working this, I rewrite this one, my original, but instead of 13y, I write 3y plus 10y. And then it's plus a 6. Why do I do that? So that I can group these now and then break it apart. I don't know what numbers go up here. When I was taught this, when I was your age, they didn't teach banding like this, and I had to just start writing numbers in here and guessing. All right, so I group the first two together and ask, what is the GCF of 5y squared plus 3y? And then what's a GCF of 10y plus 6? And then I look for the common factor in parentheses, which is my boom baby. Well, I can take a y out of these. That's the GCF. What do you multiply by y to get 5y squared? 5y. What do you multiply by y to get 3y? 3. Now I'm looking for a 5y plus 3 over here. The GCF is 2. If I put 5y plus 3, does it work? I don't know. What do you multiply by 2 to get 10y? This is what I'm asking. 10y divided by 2 equals what? It equals 5y. Then 6 divided by 2 equals what? 6 divided by 2 is 3. Well, look. Do I have my boom baby? I sure do. Boom baby! So 5y plus 3 times y plus 2 is my factored form. So I have my 5y plus 3 and y plus 2. Could have I had y plus 2 times 5y plus 3? Yes. It just means you flipped your m and n around. And that's okay, because you're going to get the same thing when you FOIL it. Let's try it. 5y times y is 5y squared. There's my first. My outer, 5y times 2 is 10y. My inner, 3 plus y is 3y. 10y plus 3y is 13y. And then 3 times 2 is 6, and it means I did it right. So there was example 2. Hopefully, these are making sense to you. All right, I'm going to put up 2 challenge problems. These were the 2 examples. Try these, pause the video, and then there'll be a link in the upper right that will show you how they're worked in a long video. So here are the challenge problems. Factor each trinomial using the MN. You got your x squared. So you could write that down. If you don't remember this, write it down. Challenge 1, 2x squared plus 5x plus 3. Challenge 2, 3a squared plus 11a plus 10. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, like this video, forward it, share it to other people so that they can see it if they need help. Up here will be a link once you've worked these. You can look and see if you did them right. Fast forward it if you need to get to the end just to see if you did them right. And then if you didn't, then go back, slow it down, and watch it again. Down here will be a playlist of other factoring trinomial videos in my YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. And remember, I'm Mr. Chew. These are called Bear Algebra videos. Tell your friends that Mr. Chew wants to help you and them learn algebra. I'll see you in the next video. Mr. Chew out.